The hate towards Gina Carano online has had a weird cycle, and has even switched sides multiple times now. I think her case is very interesting because it shows the vicious cycle of hate that exists online and within these anti-woke communities, where once your utility runs out, then people will spit you out and feed you to the dogs. I will of course go in depth with this, don't you worry, but essentially I just wanted to give an outline of Gina Carano's journey through her controversy, and also mention the newest situation, which you may have heard of. As always, leave a like and subscribe, and let's just get right into it. So I guess the first time Gina Carano really came up in debates within this whole fandom war, or whatever else you undramatic people would call it, was when she first appeared in The Mandalorian as Cara Dune, and parts of the fandom menace were a bit annoyed at it, thinking it was just another chance for Disney to show a strong female character beating the male hero, but honestly they didn't go very hard on it, just a lot of side comments about her. However, the main controversy happened when she was released from her Disney contract due to her repeated sharing of controversial posts on her social media accounts. I've mentioned these posts many times in videos before, but let me just summarize. She has repeatedly posted anti-mask propaganda and COVID skepticism. She posted about how the elections were fraudulent and stolen, while also liking tweets of people who supported the Capitol riots. And in general, she just likes tweets from very right-leaning and bigoted people. She also angered the transgender community when she put the words beep, bop, boop in her bio, and granted she did receive a lot of harassment, her attitudes towards the transgender community has never been positive, and they've only gotten worse with time. But probably her most unhinged post was when she compared being a Republican in America today to being a Jew during the Holocaust. This was bad faith, it promoted ignorance towards anti-Semitism, and it was incredibly disheartening to a lot of people. These things were all while she was working for Disney, and she has since gone far down into the rabbit hole and is now working for the Daily Wire alongside Ben Shapiro. However, I want to make it very clear that Gina Carano was not fired for her views. Her contract was not renewed because she didn't stop after she was told to stop by Disney. Even though I and a lot of other people thought that the things she said deserved to get a release from her contract, Disney as a corporation doesn't actually have morals. They know that if one of their stars begins to post unhinged, dishonest, and hateful content on social media, that it will shed a bad light on their company, and thus affect their profits. As always, I want to make it 100% clear that Disney is not the good guy here. Disney isn't progressive. Yes, a lot of progressive and very talented people work for Disney, but the mega corporation itself doesn't care about politics. It cares about profit. It's also why when people try to criticize Disney for not also firing Pedro Pascal, after he also posted some spicy things, nothing happened to him compared to Gina Carano, which is likely because he listened and turned it down a notch, which Gina Carano didn't. She likely received warnings that she should stop posting controversial stuff, but then she just took it a step further every single time. There's also the argument that Pedro Pascal posted sentiments that the majority of Disney's audience agrees with, and that there was some shred of truth to them, unlike Gina Carano's, which were rooted in delusion. However, Pedro still deleted his because some executives probably asked him to, and again, Gina didn't. And I guess it's up to the individual to decide if that in itself is right or wrong. And soon, people like Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, and the fandom menace started making videos about it too, and the general problems with cancel culture. They essentially saw her as a tool to be utilized in their war against wokeness and SJW media. And just like what happens with pretty much all right-wing nutjobs who get cancelled, she signed a contract with the Daily Wire and started working for Ben Shapiro on his platform with millions of followers. But again, remember, she was cancelled from the internet. She was silenced. But as we know, she signed on to star in movies made by the Daily Wire's film section. They were going to take back cinema by removing all woke agenda-driven content to rather make movies for the people who've had enough of wokeness. Identity politics weren't going to be shoved in people's faces anymore. And remember this, because it will be important in a bit. However, while Gina Carano got her free speech ripped away by the woke mob, she then gained a larger audience than she ever had before, to then continue spreading the same messages that she did before. You see the problem with people using the term cancel culture? However, Gina Carano started making these movies, and she has since starred in My Son Hunter, but recently she was the main character in Terror on the Prairie. And if you've been paying any attention the past couple of months, then the movie apparently made only $805 in its limited cinema run, which a lot of people have clowned them for. Now these numbers are not 100% certain, and apparently this movie was more targeted towards the Daily Wire streaming service. However, the facts are that very few people people went to see this movie, and any attempt made by Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh to make it out to seem like this movie wasn't made to release in the theater are just trying to cover up the fact that people don't really want to see their movies. If the movies that the Daily Wire make had the buzz to do well at the box office, then they absolutely would release them in the theaters. Yes, perhaps the $805 made aren't fully indicative of how much the movie has made in total, but it absolutely does allude to the fact that the Daily Wire's movies aren't anywhere near the woke killers they hyped them up to be. Now, I could look over the negative reviews even from fans of the Daily Wire, because the impression that I get is that it's just a really low budget and amateurly made movie, but I don't think that's even relevant. A bad movie is a bad movie, there often isn't anything deeper to it. However, what I want to just quickly highlight is the anti-woke reaction to the movie, because this is where the story comes full circle. Now, I want to stress that there aren't a lot of these examples, but they still exist. For example, there's this review by Let's Go Brandon.
More woke nonsense. Half hour in, a bunch of nonsense. All the men give up their revolvers. All the men have stormtrooper aim.
Women strong like Arnold and Terminator/Predator. Bullseye's weak men.
John Wick.
All the firearms have no recoil, unlimited ammo.
The men were rebels, aka veterans, but have IQ of potato. How did they survive the war?
Boggles the mind. There's also a disgusting/disturbing scene where the teen son watches the mom feed the baby. Now, there is a chance that this is ironic, but I have a very strong feeling that it isn't, because it so closely matches the usual unhinged reviews that anti-woke people give movies that are supposedly woke. However, there's also this one. Watching this movie made me realize the pattern that is forming with Daily Wire movies. They all follow strong, independent female characters who either have to rescue the men who are incompetent or defeat the men who are evil. If I want the feminist messaging, I can go to Hollywood. They have plenty of that. This is supposed to be Daily Wire, a company that stands for traditional values and against the wokeness of Hollywood. If it were 1 or 2 movies from them, then I wouldn't have a problem. Hell, movies like Alien that follow strong female protagonists are some of my favorites of all time. I just want some variety from Daily Wire, especially in an era where masculine men are increasingly rarer and under attack. We are 4 movies in with Daily Wire, and they are yet to make a movie that is particularly interesting. Shut In is still the high watermark for them, but even that was only okay. So yeah, strong 4 out of 10. Not good. The idea that Daily Wire, of all companies, isn't making movies that follow traditional values and go against wokeness is so fucking funny. They're fighting back against Hollywood's woke and female agenda by making action movies where a woman is better than a bunch of war veterans. Also, I love the pure fucking hubris these people show when they talk about movies like Alien, because if that movie came out today, you know that people would be rioting about how Hollywood is pushing strong female characters in our faces. Movies like that and Terminator are just used as defense mechanisms against the accusation of being misogynistic. But lastly, there's also this one. P.S. I love Daily Wire, but how the hell did this happen? Every Daily Wire movie is about strong women, and with this one, it is no different from a Disney movie that has an unlikable female protagonist who we are supposed to like, but they make her unlikable and crazy. I'm rooting for Daily Wire, but come on now. PPS, add Matt Walsh to the entertainment department of Daily Wire. I know for a fact he would have made some much needed corrections, and he made a fantastic documentary just a few weeks ago. Again, I can't believe that Daily Wire went and made a strong female character just to own woke Hollywood, but then ended up pissing off their own fans. It's glorious. I also love this guy's suggestion that they should put Matt Walsh on it, because yes, that's where the old box office magic is coming from. This pervert. Now, of course, like with most any movie that the word woke is used against as a criticism, it's just complete bullshit. If this movie had been great and had succeeded commercially, then these people wouldn't be calling it woke. People like this don't understand what good and bad writing is if it punched them in the fucking face. To them, a movie is either good or it's woke. There's absolutely no nuance. However, I don't want to take these few instances as proof that everyone on the anti-woke side have switched on Gina Carano. Not at all, because it's not true, but it's just more the mindset in general and how corrosive it is. When you begin seeing ghosts everywhere in terms of wokeness, a word which again has no practical meaning, and essentially just becomes a tool to be used against anything the person doesn't like or agree with, then this sentiment will eventually come full circle, and in this case be used against their own. Gina Carano really gave up her role in Star Wars to just be called woke by the supporters who welcomed her with open arms. But at the end of the day, Gina Carano still has general support support from the right, these examples calling the movie woke are not very plentiful, but they do exist. And it shows how corroded the minds of people get within this anti-woke culture. These people never liked Gina Carano while she was in Star Wars. They thought she was just another woke diversity hire. They only started supporting her once they realized that they could use her as a tool to spread their message and their bigotry. However, when you align yourself with people who only see you for the utility you bring, then they'll eventually just throw you out once you stop being useful to them. Again, Gina Carano could have been one of the biggest action stars in Hollywood if she hadn't gone on Twitter and started posting unhinged shit. But hey, I guess she stood up for her values. I just hope it plays out well for her. Or not. I don't really care. But what do you think? I know I've talked about Gina Carano before, but I thought I'd just make a more summarizing video that also includes the new information. Let me know who you guys want me to cover next, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.